everyone. Happy Monday. Happy New Year. Can you believe it? It is already 2026 and I am excited to be with you all. My name is Janelle Villiers and I am your host of the Janelle Villiers Podcast, where I love to share tips and tricks on how to write your book. A lot of you out there have been having this dream of writing your book. Perhaps it's your New Year's resolution to write the book this year. You're going to get the book done. So keep following me. You're going to get lots of tips, lots of tricks. I also interview other authors so you guys can hear from other authors what their process was like. And then sometimes I interview people who haven't written a book yet, but their story is so worth sharing. And so I have them come on to make sure that we can spread their story wide and far. So welcome. I'm excited to have you all here. If this is your first time here, please put a 1 in the comment section so that way I can shout out all my new timers. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. For those of you that have been here in the past and you're returning because you want to hear more of the heat, go ahead and put a 2 in the comments. That way I can welcome you back. And please, if you love what you see, please go ahead and subscribe. I'm just going to put this out there. It is free. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does everything for me because it tells the algorithm that what you're seeing is really cool and you want to see more of it. And so the words and the wisdom and the value that we're sharing gets to be spread to more people. So thank you in advance for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And now here we are in the show. Welcome, Melissa. Welcome back, Melissa. Love to have you. Got to get you on the show. So let's talk about today's topic, shall we? Today's topic is how to become a bestseller. My bad. How do we become a best-selling author? What a wonderful question. And you guys know I have lots of tips and tricks for how to go about that. I will probably link to this, one of the other videos where I talked about bestsellers. But if you knew that there was a system, a strategy, and a structure in place to help you get there, would you want to know what that is? Everybody raising their hands, people nodding their heads. I can't see it, but I'm assuming that you would want to know, right? Well, that is what we're going to talk about, and it's not going to be just me. I am really excited because I am bringing onto the stage someone who's actually been a big part of my life for a couple of years now. He is a father. He's a husband. He is a personal trainer, so you're going to see some muscles in some pictures that you're about to see. But one of the things that I love most about him is that he is a genius at what he does. He is the director of the creativity and our editing process for SayThat Publishing. He is my co-founder for SayThat Publishing, and we have in the last year helped to produce 11 best-selling authors. So I couldn't think of a better person to bring to the stage to talk about this topic and help you guys understand more than my brother from another, Winston Broderick.
But what I've noticed a lot of people try to do is they try to just rush right to publishing. But at SayThat, what we sit on the side of the execution of this. So when your manuscript is ready or almost ready, our role is to really just help you carry it through the finish line with the editing, the structure, the publishing, the ownership. But we've honed our skills in that area now. So it helps turn that work into an actual book. For me, and what I love to help people do now is craft their manuscript into that finished product.
Yeah.
Hey, there he is.
What's going on?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Always
haven't seen you in so long. No, just kidding. we see each other very frequently. But I am excited because there are some people who only see my face, but they never see your face or get to see your face until something like this happens. And so I can't wait for people to hear more about you, your story, what you've been through, and kind of
Absolutely.
what drove you or inspires you to continue in what we do. So let's get into it. First, for those who don't know your background, I would love for you to share with folks your own author journey and what you learned from that and how it's led you to what we've created with SayThat Publishing.
Okay. Well, first off, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share your platform and share my story. Happy New Year to everybody out there. My author journey started during the pandemic. At the time, like Janelle mentioned in the intro, I was still working as a personal trainer, and at the time, we were also working as I want to say we were at the rank of director in a direct sales company. So we were earning a little bit of passive income in that, but with everything that shut down and in the industry that we were working in with travel, we saw a huge dip in our business. I know a significant amount of our team had, started to transition. Again, the pandemic put a lot of things on hold. And so I want to say mentally, I started to find that not having that success was putting me in a certain mental state. I know during that time, a lot of people were dealing with, I want to say, mental health or having the lens of mental health kind of come up for them. And one of the things I started to reflect on with some of the mentors in our company, excuse me, was legacy. And one of the ideas that came from one of our mentors was the idea that, obviously people were all going to pass on, but with a book, you could leave a legacy in terms of your story, the ideas, your ideologies. And so I actually signed up with one of our mentors to co-author a book. And that's where my best-selling book came from, Breakthrough Success. And I was blessed to co-author that with Matt Morris and his team. And in it, I shared briefly, I only had a chapter in the book. And again, this was my first 4 year into writing. So I didn't necessarily have a grasp or understanding on what it looked like to become a published author. And so when you co-author a book, you don't, the whole book is not about you, you do a segment of it. And so in that, I shared a segment about, coming to this country from Jamaica, what it looked like to go through certain challenges that I had in my life, build a business in network marketing, just certain aspects of my philosophy around what it looks like to have success or be successful. And from that process, I then got, I want to say, a crash course in a sense of what it looks like, the kind of back end of what they do in terms of helping people to become best-selling author. And from that, I had a period of time where although I had the title of, a best-selling author, there were significant components within what it looked like to actually earn money from a book that I didn't understand. And there wasn't really any tutelage in that area. And so I found myself having to start to kind of figure that stuff out on my own. And from that and conversations with you and just really recognizing after you wrote your book, what it looked like to watch you go out on tour and to actually start to craft what it looked like to have a book tour, I started to understand an even deeper reasoning around the gaps that were missing in terms of people's journey when they become authors.
So now both of you and I have now become authors ourselves, and the bestsellers came up, right, and all of that. And I'm curious, was there an experience that you went through that you feel like has shaped what you wanted our company for SayThat Publishing to do with our customers?
Yeah, for sure. Let me be very frank. When we set out, I certainly didn't set out to build a company. That wasn't necessarily the thought process when we first started. I think it really did come from a place of recognizing, and you essentially brought the idea of pointing out that there were people you were meeting that were asking the question, like, how did you do this? How did you take an idea, formulate it, format it, and put it together that you could put it in a way to present it, as a book? And I shared my experience with you in terms of not necessarily having a ton of say in after I wrote certain aspects of it, just kind of really being given more guidelines around how many words I needed to put forth to be a part of the project. But I didn't have somebody who was working with me and really helping me shape the idea of what I wanted beyond the book's launch. It was just getting to the finish line of having, your name on a book. But I wanted to make money with it. I really, like I said, we were in the pandemic and I invested that money in a book because I wanted what they promised, which was authority. But I also wanted to earn some money from this. I honestly thought this would be something that could help, earn a couple $100s a month. I didn't know at the time what it looked like to be a New York Times bestseller. And certainly that wasn't my aspirations. But once I started to understand how much money is in that industry and what people are able to earn, I certainly know I wanted a piece of it. But I didn't have, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't have someone looking to help me beyond putting the book together. What you need when you're in this space is you need somebody to hold your hand or to walk with you or to educate you on what it looks like to actually sell your book and to have a book worth being sold.
So do you feel like that's, I know we've had conversations about this, but like, do you feel like we've managed to do a little bit differently for our clients? Because do you feel like that you didn't get that, so maybe we should provide that for our clients?
100%. Every facet of how our company is run and how we work with our authors is been designed from the pain points that each of us found through our process of creating and becoming an author. From you doing it as a self-published author, and our beta tester program comes from the amount of people that you were beta testing your book with, from having me read it to having other people read it and give you feedback. I know I didn't have that process. Again, I asked my sister and I think one other person at the time to take a look at what I was doing as I was writing, but I didn't have the full idea of getting a group of people to give me feedback and then taking that feedback and having it shape what I wrote. I know that idea came from you. I know our meeting structures and how we work with our authors one-on-one and incorporate marketing now. It all comes from, again, the areas where we found after our books were put out, we didn't have the right help. Having somebody put together a book tour for you, having somebody sit with you week in or week out, scoping the different things. Yes, I definitely had somebody who gave me, I wrote something and they sent it back to me. But what we do at SayThat is it's such a hands-on process that, and our authors are testimony to that. Like you mentioned, we have 11 best-selling authors who've all given us such positive feedback about what that process looks like.
So, okay, so let's get into some of that. What does it really mean to become a best-selling author today? Actually, let me go back and put the topic. Yeah. So what does it really mean to become a best-selling author today? And guys, if you're finding value in what we're sharing, please go ahead and put a V in the comments for value. And if you have any questions for Winston, please put them in the chat as well, or in the comment section as well. So that way you can get your answers live. And if you're watching the recording, please go ahead and put the questions in the we will definitely make sure that Winston gets the questions so we can get them answered for you. But yes, while people are thinking of what questions to ask you, what does it really mean to become a best-selling author today?
I would say it's twofold. Certainly there's the acknowledgement, with our system. You're an Amazon best-selling author when you hit a certain number of sales from your book being produced. And that component makes a huge difference. I do think it has something to be said that with authors that we're working with and we're, scoping their work and helping them craft whatever their ideas are and putting it out. It does matter that when your book comes out, it's being positioned in the right place in the marketplace so that people are seeing it, that is very visible. And then the other side, it's really the mindset. And I think that's a big part of, I consider like what it looks like to go through your program, Janelle, with Author Journey as the educational component of our business, because many people are great writers, but to become an author, there's a certain level of, like I said, of education you need to have around what it looks like, different writing skills, different components within a book to help take, again, your idea, your story, and to make it something that people are going to want to read. And then what it looks like to embody what an author is. You know, it is somebody who, like we have within our company a program that you can become a coach. You can take your idea and turn it into a program to put people through, to help people. If it's just a book or memoir and you have certain components of your life that you're sharing with people, we have our amazing marketing team with Melissa and MPH and what they do in turning your book into an actual, I love the word Melissa used, like, what's the assignment you have for your book? And taking that and making sure that when you're out there and you're having conversations with people in the grocery store, or if you're having conversations, because her and her team have helped set up like a speaking engagement for you, you're able to go in with a sense of authority about whatever it is that your book has to discuss, and speaking to the audience who show up to these events with that level of authority to say, I am an author. I'm not just somebody who wrote something down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So I thank you, Melissa, for this. Yes, my experience at JVP and STP, which is SayThat Publishing, was deeply inspiring. After more than 6 years in this industry, I can confidently say that I never witnessed the level of care, expertise, and intentional guidance that SayThat Publishing and JVP provided. Thank you, Melissa. Next best-selling author to be added to our list. So, you know, I think that's really helpful. So definitely people understand, like, working with SayThat Publishing, working with us can help them get not only the title, but then also the partnerships that we've made with MP Press and MP Solutions. They've been really helpful in that marketing piece, right? And getting your name out there and recognizing that that's a part of what it takes to be a best-selling author. I'm curious, for all of the aspiring authors out there, what do you think one of the biggest mistakes is that they make?
Biggest mistakes. You know, it's just funny. I think it's the idea that you have to go at this alone. And certainly I think where that comes from is, and, you know, I'll be the first to say, I tell people all the time that you can learn a lot from like YouTube, and there are a lot of free resources out there on how to do a thing, like how to do something. But it's the same way I look at like personal training. It's one thing, you can definitely watch a bunch of videos online and go to the gym and work out. It is a very different thing to have a good personal trainer. There is a level of accountability where we can't see ourselves. It's like you can't see the tree for the forest. And when somebody is outside of you looking at you do what it is that you do, you're able to get feedback that you cannot get, even though you're watching something unfold in front of you and doing what it is. So like I said, I know you are self-published and you went through this process on your own, but even I know that if you had the opportunity to go through it again, you would hire us to take you through that process and help you write your book. You know what I mean? And it's not to take anything away from your first book, but the process we put your second book through compared to the process of your first book, it's like night and day. Obviously a different subject matter all, but you could attest to the fact that just that process alone is completely different, and it shaped your book and how that one was presented. So I would say the biggest mistake is people have is going at this alone and not realizing that they need coach and they need help. They need help with what they're putting forth in terms of their ideas.
Say that. I mean, that's literally why I created JVP or Janelle Villiers Partnerships and the coaching that I do. It's because I'm basically becoming the person I wish I had when I was writing my book. And I feel very similarly with what we do with SayThat Publishing. It's like, I wish I had someone helping. Well, I did have you for editing, so let me take that back. But now we get to help other people with the editing. But I also wish that, like, I had someone helping me with formatting. I wish I had somebody helping me with the actual publishing of the book. Like, I just wish there were a bunch of people there to help me along the way. And I did a ton of YouTube University, and it took me a year to figure all of that out. And so what if we could
Yeah.
collapse timeframes where it doesn't take you a year to like figure it out on your own, but like you could get it done in 4 months instead of a year, right?
Absolutely.
I just, it gets me excited every time I think about it. I'm like, yeah, that would have been great.
No, and full transparency. There's a level to what you do, like the components of the company that you do. I think about the times, guys, Janelle's up at 2:00 in the morning because we have a client that's overseas in a different time zone, making sure that their book can be bought by their friends in that market. So it's like these are things that you don't want to have to deal with. You don't want to have to go through the stress of that. And again, I get it. There's the financial component in anything where you have to put forth some type of product or, an idea. And I get that can be the barrier of entry. But again, for any person who's ever had a coach or anyone who's ever had, a mentor or, again, paid for some high valued service, you, on the other side of it, recognize how invaluable that service is. And so, yeah, like you're saying, it is that idea of wanting to have, it's like wishing you had that thing in your life that you don't. And I know that with what we put forth in SayThat Publishing and with JVP and MPH, we can definitely help a lot of people, especially in this new year, bring their ideas to the marketplace.
I love that. So again, if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the comments.
Yeah, bring them on.
Because we want to make sure that we get all of them answered live, as many as we can. Again, if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and put your questions in the comments. I will get them to Winston, don't you worry. And so again, while we're waiting for other people to put their questions in the comments, one of the things I was curious to hear your thoughts around is, why do you believe books can be tools for both personal and professional transformation?
Oh, what a great question. I think the process from the personal side of putting forth a book, I think it allows for some component of who you are to mature. Whether it's from just the idea of getting your ideas out on paper, but watching them shaped, watching them, get feedback, having a group of people take a look at certain things that you put down on paper, and then telling you what their thoughts are on that. And so you have an opportunity to reflect on that and, make pivot points or add to things to really articulate your idea. I think that process as a whole changes you. You know what I mean? I use the word mature because I think that's what it is. It's like you grow into whatever it is, like with a book, from manuscript to published book, it's like a child and it's like something that's really like growing. So I think of it that way. So it's like a level of maturity that comes through that process. And then in terms of the professional side, it really depends on what your book is about. I know we have authors, we have someone she put forth a memoir, and it's about the challenges she had as a child watching, her abusive father and how that affected her family and how that shaped a lot of what happened in her life. And
shout out to Brandy.
Now to watch, I was just about to say, and now to watch Brandy take that, that her book is a memoir. And so again, it is talking about components of her life, but now she's doing speaking engagements. She's in different prisons with her ministry, and she's using that book and impacting different women's lives in the prison system now, because they're able to see through her story that, God can make a way and he can use your struggles to do a new thing. And so I know Brandy had aspirations of that when she first started, and we started writing and helping her with her book, but to see her living it out now and to see who she's becoming because she's having to be in these different rooms and to speak to different people, I can only imagine what that's going to do for her and her brand and what she's building with, what is it? Spoken, Jay, what's
Words
Brandy's spoke? Is it?
Words That Speak.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like to see what that's going to do for that brand and that company. it's going to be transformative in a way that we haven't seen it yet, because her book just came out last year, towards Q4 of last year. But I know in the next year to 3 years, it's going to make that platform huge, especially because at that point, we're going to have another 2 projects out that she's going to put forth. So it can make a huge difference. And in terms of, if to speak to an audience that we started helping towards the end of the year with coaches and taking their 1-hour recordings or recordings from talks that they've done and put that into a book, you know, a lot of people, a lot of speakers, a lot of coaches, you guys are out there on these different platforms. And what people want, like the Tony Robbins of the world, is like, they want to be able to take your ideas home with them and read, like, and have you mentor them and have you guide them when you aren't there. And a book is literally one of the best ways for you to be in these people's homes and to be in these people's lives on a regular basis. And so I can't think of a better thing for a coach or someone who's, helping others by coaching them put into the marketplace than a book that has your ideologies, has your structure, has your game plan in it to help the people who obviously, I mean, think about people in other countries that can't get to you in some instances. Right. Your book can be sold overseas and it can make a huge impact. So I can't think of one of a larger value added for any coach or professional than to have a book out there.
Say that. I could not agree with you more. That is 100% true. All right. While we're waiting for any other questions, I just want to also say that there's somebody in LinkedIn. Unfortunately, it just says LinkedIn user, so I don't have your name, but they were saying, working with a coach keeps you from making mistakes. And also it's the power of group genius. 100%. And so 100% agree with that as well. So last question then, Winston, what do you want every Say That Publishing author to walk away with beyond a book?
Wow. I would say to kind of go back to that idea of what you had asked earlier, it's a sense of knowing you are a different person on the other side of publishing your book. There was, I relate a lot of things to fitness, but it makes me think of just people who come into the gym and, they see that they know that there's a different version of them in there. And it's about just having somebody who can walk with you in terms of that process of staying committed to an idea and seeing it through to the end. And certainly by the end, I don't mean that just because your book gets published, that's the end of it. There is still a process that goes on beyond that. But certainly that's one step in this process. And on the other side of anybody who works with us is I want them to see themselves as that version that they saw in the beginning. Like they knew they had something in them, and it was about finding someone, again, just to walk alongside them and say, hey, you can do this. And they all have. I mean, there's not one person that we've started to help that quit. I mean, we've pushed back deadlines and, we've had to make adjustments, and that's a part of life. And so I love watching people work with us through all of that and what it looks like for us to send them that email that says, you are a best-selling author, and to put that out there for them. So anyone that comes through our doors, our virtual doors, I just want them to walk out knowing that version of themselves that they saw when they started, that is who they are now.
And I love that we're ending on that note. That is amazing. I just really
I don't want to end there.
Oh,
I do want to make sure we mention, guys, this coming next Monday, we have our monthly masterclass, and this will be the first one that I have the opportunity of speaking on day 2. So I definitely want to make sure that you guys get registered there. I know Janelle's going to put the information in the description. The other plug I want to throw out there is if you do want to get help with any type of publishing work, whether it's from editing, formatting, we do illustrated work. Again, like I mentioned, we have a program where if you just give us your recorded word, we can turn that into a fully published book with your help. So go to our website, jvillierspartnership.com/SayThat Publishing. But definitely if you just reach out to Janelle, She will connect you to our team and help you in any way that you guys need help. But this has been an absolute blessing. And don't miss that masterclass. We're also going to have our marketing specialist, Melissa, on that for day 2. So you definitely don't want to miss day 1 or 2, or the scholarship that we're going to be offering, which I know we announced on day 2.
Which is what I was going to say. I was like, so day 1, we're talking about how do you even write the book? But day 2, we're going to be talking about the editing and the publishing. Winston's going to be on. We're going to have Melissa come on as our book marketing expert. And we announced the winner of the scholarship. It is a $12,000 author scholarship. The person who wins the scholarship is going to be able to get free coaching. That's 16 weeks of coaching to help you write your book. You're also going to get... I'm also going to teach you, use my experience of being a professor. I'm going to teach you how to turn your book into a course. So then you can teach that for income in the future. And you're going to get 4 marketing sessions with Melissa, and she'll show you how to market your book, to sell your book, essentially. So if you want to, if you want to apply for that scholarship, we're going to be announcing the winner of the scholarship, but you got to apply in order to become even a winner. So make sure you do that. There's a link there. I will make sure that the link is in the description if it isn't already, but the way in which you can contact us, all of that information is in the description. If you're on YouTube, it's below. If you're on Facebook, it's up above. If you're on LinkedIn, it's up above. So you can find it all there. If you reach out to Winston, he will respond. He's a real person. We will both get back to you. And so this has been an absolute pleasure. Guys, if you enjoyed what you had to hear from Winston, if you found this helpful, the best way to do that is to put a V in the comments. V is for value. It's also the shape that your hand makes right before you give a clap. So that's another way to give an applause, just so we can see all the V's coming in. Thank you, Winston. Thank you so much for taking the time for coming on.
Jay.
We're going to have you come back. All right,
see
everyone.
You guys.
That ends today's episode, but don't you worry. I will be back next week, same time, same station, new topic to help you guys write your book. Take care, everyone. Have a great night.